oh man. And then all the messages, are you recording? Are we going to be able to get this? But we'll give another little couple of minutes so that we give everybody a
Okay.
little bit of time. But we're good. And when you're used to a time and everything, then that's what people just get the habit. So we'll pass it
Yes.
all on.
Okay.
And you're diving in the same shul as Alexia Goldstein.
Alexia
There's
Goldstein.
Alexia, English Alexia. Maybe you don't.
Yeah,
No, don't.
yeah,
Okay.
yes, I know Alexia.
Okay. Is your Shabbos ready?
Pretty much. I've got a husband who's a caterer, so I'm very lucky.
Oh, so okay, so we've got okay. Well, that's great. We're laughing because my sister is actually her and her husband are caterers in Telstone. Don't know if you've come across
Okay, in Telston.
Billy Tobin, Yossi Tobin. Anyway, it's actually very cute because they have. Nice to see you quickly, Bettina. They have a breast tomorrow of a grandchild, but they have a
Yeah.
fun. You know what? They'll have to bring in the food for the breast.
Oh, wow.
And they just say you can't do everything, so there we go. We can't be everywhere. And actually, my son and grandson are coming to Renang.
Oh, lovely.
They're staying at Tammy Russell.
Oh, Tammy goes to my shul. That's nice. So maybe I'll meet him.
So there we go. I'll tell him to come and find you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, girls, we are going to start. We'll let anybody who's going to join us catch up and anybody else catch the recording. But, there's sometimes things in the world that happen and you're not exactly sure, or we're not sure at the actual time why that conversation took place and why this happens and that happens and all the different things that really happen in the world. And then as soon as we just sort of look at it a little bit, we think, oh my goodness, okay, that's really why we had to have that, however long ago it actually was. But we've got to look for sometimes a little bit harder to find the siyata dishmaya, the divine providence in everything that actually happens. So I have to tell you, I don't know how many times. When did I? I don't know. If I looked in my phone, I'd see the first time that I actually messaged Devorah, and I'm thinking, and I kept saying, and then every time I would say something to Shelly, my gorgeous Shelly Perez, and then I don't know, and then I'd even forgotten about Shelley for that moment when I messaged you. I just thought, like, I feel, we just need a little bit of this energy. And when I told somebody that she had mentioned your name, and she was like, I said, yeah, you heard, and she said, oh, and then you've only got to say the South African. So the truth is that the little bit that we shared on about Devorah on the actual flyer, I never know if people really read it or they don't really read it. But I'm going to be sharing also because I didn't check to see if the email was actually put on the flyer or not, but I will share it with you. But as just as a little bit of an intro, Devorah is a passionate seeker of meaning, healing, spirituality, and purpose in life. And one of the things that I actually say to Devorah is this Thursday night class actually continues since the beginning of COVID, because I believe that everybody that joins us here really resonates. It totally resonates with them, and it's something that we're all working towards. So, as a professional logotherapist, somatic experiencing practitioner, IFS level 3 practitioner, reflexologist, and bereavement counselor, she's dedicated to supporting individuals through illness, challenges, grief, and trauma. Devorah empowers her clients to healing by guiding them to ask, what now instead of why me? She's the author, and I love this. I have to tell you that Man's Search for Meaning was one of the well-read books here. And one of the things that I actually looked at in the time that Viktor Frankl was still alive was I used to look at buying a ticket for my husband to go to Vienna to try and get a private audience. And it was always too expensive. There weren't all these cheap flights now. Every time when I see now Vienna, I said, if that was that price, I would have gotten him there. But A Man Search for Healing, which is a logotherapy approach to healing through meaning, which delves into the mind-body connection, the impact of unresolved issues of well-being, and the distinction between being healed and being cured. Devorah shares also her personal journey of overcoming a broken neck and explores themes of forgiveness and post-traumatic growth. She also teaches women Torah-related classes through logotherapy lens, and through her integrative well-being clinic, she offers both in-person and online therapy sessions, blending her expertise to promote holistic well-being of the mind, body, and soul. And I have to be honest, please God, when I get my, when we manage one of our next spiritual spas, and we just wait for a little bit of a gift from the lottery funding to help us fund. Ezra Hashem, we will be able to be Zoicha to maybe just bring you over in person. So for tonight, we are from bare tree to blossoming life, and we all love Shevat. So it's the month of Shevat's promise of becoming. It was the Yotzah today of the Baba Sali. I don't think we can do and get much closer of getting all this magnificent real energy. And also, as you all saw on the flyer, that it should be a zechus for us through the beautiful elevation of the neshama of Daniel Shimon ben Doron, ben Harav Doron Eliezer. And this should be really one of the parts of actually bringing us all closer to that place of Mashiach. And I look here because straight over here is where my cross for me is all my things of actually Daniel right over there, and our block, and this is on our dining room table, and it stays here all week. And the first thing that goes onto the table, and I actually make somebody, at least any Shabbos meal, has to lift up and say Eloheim, and that's just a picture of Daniel. So there's no coincidence in how these things happen. And literally, when I said to Shelley, guess who's speaking on Thursday, she said, I'm seeing her in 10 minutes. I said, great. Okay. So we love it that we have friends and connections, and you feel we've never met. I did check with Devorah if we'd met before, because I feel like we have, and I feel like I know her. So let's share the beauty and the wisdom, and let's go and keep me quiet.
Oh, that's so wonderful. We also have those shot glasses of Daniel, and no drink goes down in this home without celebrating the memory of Daniel. So we grew up with him. I knew him from when he was born, and our families are very close together. So yeah, we have the same shot glass at our tables too. I don't see many videos on, and if anyone feels comfortable to put it on, it's always nice to look at people. So if you feel comfortable to put it on, that will be fantastic. Okay, there's some more coming on, and nice to see your faces. And this is actually here comes some more. Fantastic. It's really wonderful for me. It's the first time I'm speaking in virtually in London. I've done many talks in South Africa and Australia and the United States. So this is my first time in London.
Please God, many more, but you should know that we've got people in South Africa, in Israel, in London, in Manchester, and if anybody wants to add, if you're somewhere different, just add it on the chat.
Yeah.
And there's Nikki Menashe saying hello.
So wonderful. So I'm very excited, and it's a great honor for me to be here. I'm just trying to find my, whoops. Okay. All right. So we're going to speak about the month of Shevat, and two elements that I want to really look at are the month of Shevat brings us ideas about nurturing ourselves and seeing our potential. And Michelangelo has a beautiful quote where he says, "The greatest danger for most of us is not that our aim is too high and we miss it, but that it is too low and we reach it." right? So something about potential. We don't think we could get there, and we don't think we'll ever make it there. Someone likes that quote, and this shiur that we're going to share tonight, these words of learning, all about the month of Shvat, is really to help us grow into who we can be. Specifically, I love speaking to women, and there's something about women, and when women get together, the energy is so beautiful and so healing. So I think what we want to do is sometimes we go to Shiura and then we say, "Oh, that was great," and afterwards, we come out and then we just move on and continue with life. But I have a friend who's a corporate life coach, and many years ago, I went to a talk and she couldn't get there. And she said to me, "How was the talk?" I said, "That's great." So she said, "Well, what did you learn?" I'm like, "Hmm." And she said, "What did you take out of it?" I'm like, "Hmm, not sure. Can't remember." She said, "Well, how did it change you?" I'm like, "Also don't know." And so I'm going to invite you in the beginning to listen with those kind of ears of what can you take out of this? What can you learn? And how can you see what you're going to learn now? How can you use that to maybe help change something about you? Be able to maybe share a beautiful idea at your Shabbos tables, or just to think a little bit deeper about yourself and the kind of ideas that we're going to be processing. So we're going to look at these ideas about nurturing ourselves, because as women, we're always nurturing others, and so important also to nurture ourselves. And we're going to look at this whole idea of potential, what we can be and what we can learn from the trees. So every month, there is a different energy around each month. And the Sefer Yetzirah is a Kabbalistic book that speaks about the different energy of the month. And it brings down, each month has a different permutation of Hashem's name, a different tribe that it's connected to, a different sense, a zodiac sign, and all sorts of things. So we're going to look at a few of those ideas. And up front, that's what we're going to look at. So the zodiac sign for this month of Shvat is Aquarius. And Rebbetzin Heller says that Aquarius is the water carrier. And we all know that Torah is often compared to water. And we're going to see these parallels here because water has the ability to give life and to keep moving and to keep flowing. And so too does Torah. If we're open to learning the great lessons, we will be able to feel alive and feel as if we are moving somewhere in our lives, that we are flowing. And that's what we want. That's what we want. So the first idea from Sefer Yetzirah is the zodiac sign of the energy of this month is about the water carrier, water carrying life, carrying Torah, and how do we use that? The tribe, one of the 12 tribes, each one is assigned to a different month, is Asher. And Asher means pleasure and happiness. In Israel, they always have a blessing at weddings. We wish you Osher and Osher, right? Happiness and wealth and pleasure. And so our father Yaakov, when he blessed his son Asher, he says in Genesis 49:20, he says, "From Asher comes delicious bread, and he shall provide the delicacies of the king." So it's evident that Asher represents something about eating and tasting. And this brings us to the next element that it brings for this month of Shvat is the actual sense. There's 12 different senses. So we know about 6 senses, seeing, touching, smell, but Kabbalistically, there's 12 senses. And the sense for this month, the month of Shvat, is the sense of eating and tasting, right? So a lot of the time, especially as busy women, we're eating like this, on the go, in the car. Did we eat? Didn't we eat? Did we stand? Did we manage to sit? Were we talking on the phone and doing 10 other things at the same time? And this is the month where we actually get to rectify our eating, to think about our eating. And in the benching, it says v'achalta v'savata uvarachta. We always say that in the benching, and it means to eat And when you are satisfied, to bless, to say thank you. So it's very easy as we are about to start eating the food, we quickly mumble of a fast bracha. And then afterwards, we might be so full and we're happy. And then when we are full and happy and content, do we remember to thank them? Do we remember to uvarachta? Do we remember that after we've eaten and we've satisfied our soul? So the word visavata, inside of it is shin bet ayin, which is the word sheva, which alludes to the number 7, which is the 7th species for this month of Shevat. So this is the month where we want to be thinking about mindful eating. So mindful eating is about really not just like shoveling the food in, but about tasting our food, about eating our food, about putting our fork down and really like enjoying the deliciousness of what's in my mouth right now, right? I once spoke to someone who lost a whole lot of weight, and I said to him, like, what did you do? He said, I did one simple thing. I love chocolate, and I can eat a whole slab at a time. So I said, well, how did that help you? So he said, the first bite is the best. That first bite into a chocolate is the absolute best. All that delicious sweetness, the creaminess. And he says, and the last bite, when you know this is the last bite, there's none left after that, that's also the best bite. So he decided he's only having the first bite and the last bite, not everything in between, because that's not what you eat or even enjoy. And that's how he lost all that weight. So just by cutting out all the middle of the chocolate, he just had the first bite and the last bite. And this is called mindful eating. And it's about really, when you put something into your mouth, of really just tasting it. This is delicious. And swallowing it and allowing the ingredients and the nutrients to go and feed every cell in your body. That's called mindful eating. And that's what this month is all about. So this month is about, you can make a note if you are making notes, mindful eating, to look into how can I taste my food? Because really tasting food is taking the outside into our body, right? And we want to be able to also digest life in that way. So it's all about mindful eating. So there's also different letters that are assigned to the month of Shevat. And the letter for to all the different months. So there's 12 letters that have been singled out for the different months. This is a Kabbalistic idea. And the letter, where did I put it here, is the tzadi. And I don't know which way, I just want to check. Is that backwards for you? Yeah. So I want to put it this way then.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it's backwards. Yeah.
Is that right for you?
That's right. That's right.
Okay. So you see, we have a tzadi, an end tzadi, and where's my finger? And the other tzaddik, the normal tzaddik from the middle of the word, and the tzaddik sofit, the end of the word. And here you can see the word eitz, right? So the letter tzaddik, which is the letter, the Kabbalistic letter that goes with this month of Shevat, is if you say the word, the letter is tzaddik, but it actually is a word. Tzaddik is a word, right? It's a tzaddik, the true tzaddik, the righteous one. So the previous month, which was the month of Tevet, had the letter ayin. Ayin was the letter, and this month we've got the tzaddik. So we've got the word eitz. Last month and this month is alluding Kabbalistically to these words. And ayin, if we look at the letter ayin, we spell out its name. It's ayin, which is the eye, right? So we have an ayin for the eye, and a tzaddik for the righteous one. And what it's really inviting us to do is when the ayin of Tevet from last month is lifted up, we lift up our eyes to connect with the tzaddik of Shevat, the word tree is formed. So when these 2 months come together, it looks like this. And if we also have a look, this tzaddik, when you write it calligraphy-wise, it also looks like a tree. There's a trunk and then branches that come out from that. And I think that's so beautiful. And I love the intertwining of how the sense of the month and the letter of the month and everything winds together. The zodiac sign, it all makes sense because trees grow with water, like they need water as well. Okay. So this time of the year, where the nights are getting are longer, they're still longer than the days, but we've turned the corner of this. We've passed the winter solstice, and darkness that prevails at night is beginning to lessen. So darkness is usually compared also to dark times in our lives or in our history. We say there was a very dark time in my life, or we say there was a dark time, a dark period of our history. And when things aren't always going to according to plan, it's more like nighttime, darkness, a dark time. But Shvat is when we're starting to turn the corner and we're coming to starting to bring us out of the darkness, right? And this also hints to us through trees and what's happening with trees. So we speak about the potential because really the trees right now are dead. They look dead, they're bare, they're empty. You wouldn't look at a tree if you just landed on Earth now in the middle of winter. You would never look at a tree if you were an alien and say, oh, that's going to have leaves one day and beautiful flowers or fruit. Just, it's inconceivable. So if we talk about potential, so people sometimes think they had potential in their 20s, right? That was when I could get stuff done. And I think even Joanne and I were speaking the other day, and she was saying, I'm too old to do this kind of stuff. But I was challenging Joanne about it, and we're going to speak about potential now. Like we are today the youngest we will ever be. And that is like an invitation, right? If I think in my 20s, I studied to be an interior designer. Then in my 30s, I had a career change. I became a reflexologist. In my 40s, I made Aliyah and totally changed, then going into logotherapy. And then just before I turned 50, I became a trauma therapist. So there is potential for us to keep growing, keep developing, keep changing, keep doing new things. And once I met this incredible woman who really, really inspired me. She told me that when she was the oldest of 9 children, and when she was 18, she got married. And a little while after that, when she was expecting her first child, her parents were killed in a car accident. Terrible tragedy. And she adopted all her siblings and brought them up, right? Incredible woman. And what she did because of looking after her children, this was the time in Israel when there were lots of Russian immigrants. And she saw that girls after a certain age couldn't be adopted anymore. So she started a home for Russian girls where she looked after them and took them to get married. So she ran 2 homes, one of her parents' children, her own children, and then this home for all these Russian orphan girls. And obviously she didn't know how to speak Russian, so she had to learn to speak Russian. And then she said in her 40s or 50s or late 50s, 60s, something like that, then there was all this like kind of paperwork of could she adopt them, these Russian girls? How could she be like the legal advisory for them or, have a say on where they go or who looks after them? So then in her 60s, she became a lawyer. And I was just sitting there with my jaw dropping wide open about this woman who just never reached her potential because she never felt she was too old to do stuff and she was just moving and moving and moving. And this month is here to challenge us on that too. What is our potential? We might not even realize even a drop of it. And so that's what's happening here. When we look at the trees, they look dead. There's no promise in anything good could come from these trees. But this is when all the magic is happening. Deep inside the trees, inside the trunk of the trees, is a warmth and a sap rising, nurturing the tree, bringing new life, invigoration, energy, and warmth to the tree of reminding it, you're a tree, you can bring leaves, you're going to have fruit, or whatever kind of tree you are. This is all happening now, and nobody can see it. So we can't even imagine that a tree right now, we look at a winter tree, could bring fruit, or have gorgeous, gorgeous blossoms. We can't imagine anything like that. So Rav Wallerstein, Zechrono Livracha, he had this beautiful idea that he used to share, where he said, why is it that we spend so much money on a wedding or a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah? We spend huge amounts of money where we don't even know what's going to happen to this young couple, and especially in today's day and age. He says, and then if there's a couple who's been married 40 or 50 years, they make a small kiddush, and there's no big deal about it. It's a little kiddush and a few people come. But what we really should be celebrating is a successful 50 years of marriage. We should be throwing these huge parties for that. So have we got it all wrong? Like, what are we doing? Celebrating weddings and bar mitzvahs. We don't even know what these kids are going to become, or what this new couple, what will become of them. But he says what we are celebrating is the potential of what they can become. Because a young boy or young girl, it's a scary time becoming bar mitzvah. You're responsible for all your own deeds, and you got this huge party now. But we're celebrating the potential of what this young boy of 13 and this young girl of 12, who they can be. So we make a big party about it, and we celebrate that, and we bring them in with great excitement. And the same too with a married couple. We make a big deal about it because this is the start of something new. And that's what this energy of the month of Shevat is all about. So Rabbi Dov Lior says, our task on Tu B'Shvat, which is coming up on the 15th of this month, is to see the constant renewal in life. One who thinks that everything is static, doesn't get excited about anything. If today the trees are bare and tomorrow the trees are bare, and this is just how it is, and that's what life is, and we're just rolling on and rolling on, nothing's going to be exciting. But nature is here to show us. Don't think that this is the end of the story. Things are getting exciting, and let's motivate and move and get renewed and get excited and rejuvenated. That's what is possible when we look at the trees, and that's what we are meant to be taking out of the trees when we look at them. So we have a word, and the word that we use for studying our Jewish law is called halacha. And it's specifically this word that we use for all the laws of Jewish life and Jewish living. But the word means walking. It means moving. Because if we are going to stay stuck and stagnating in life, we are not going to grow. We will stay in one place all the time. And what we want is to be moving ahead. Okay? And Rosh Hashanah is this gift that we all get once a year as humans, the gift of life. And now this energy is what the trees are. It's like difficult even to imagine that there's a Rosh Hashanah for the trees. But Hashem is deciding what will be with each of these trees. And if this energy is like out in the air, then we can like connect to it and plug ourselves into that and see, well, what is the potential within me too? What else can I bring forth out of myself? So what can we learn from trees, right? Trees are absolutely exquisite. I grew up in Johannesburg where we had thousands of jacaranda trees. They're just absolutely exquisite. I don't know what you have in London or what's beautiful there, but there were all these lilac, magnificent trees lining the roads. And, when my kids were small, we would drive up this one street in 6th Avenue, we'd drive up the street and they'd say, Mommy, look, it's like a lilac sukkah that we're driving through. And it was just, everything was over us and just so magnificent. So the trees blossom in the summer, they shed their leaves in the fall, and even that is a magnificent something to see. Red, and I was in New York once at this time in end of October, beginning of November. It was breathtaking and spectacular. If you were to describe to someone a tree, they think a green tree, but a red tree and a yellow tree and an orange tree, it's an absolute feast to the eyes. Right? The diverse colors. And in winter, it all dies down. It's almost like a frozenness, right? But there's an intelligence happening in there, a rebirth and a growing till spring comes again. So trees also, they survive storms, right? By not fighting, but by yielding. When the wind comes to push them, they don't fight it, they go with the wind. The leaves are blowing, the branches are moving with the difficulties of life, right? They're deep roots, and the trees have, and they bear fruit as well. They live on and give birth to generations of more trees. And if they're fruit trees, they give us seeds to continue. One apple can contain enough seeds to plant a whole orchard, right? So they serve as protectors for us and filters from the sun. Their leaves absorb toxins and turn it into clean oxygen for us to breathe. So look how beautiful trees are. They stand strong and grow all at once, and they grow in two opposite directions, one up to Shemaim and one down deep, deep into the earth. At the same time, trees provide us with shade. They give us furniture. They help build the homes out of wood as well. We can lean on them for support and sustain ourselves through their fruit. So from the initial tap root to its spreading out its lateral roots, it seeks out and builds an efficient and silent, out of sight network of sustenance. Everything about it offers us invaluable life lessons, and we're going to look at some of these. Because it says also in the Torah, and we'll see this quote later, the human being is like a tree of the field. So actually, it's really interesting that the redwood trees, right? That I was asked this question once, and I've only seen a redwood once before when I was in Switzerland. There was one massive, massive, massive redwood tree because I was so excited. And actually, just to share a secret, that I love to hug trees, right? And there's something about hugging trees. I don't know if any of you are into that, but I always love to hug a tree and try and feel its energy. And a friend of mine who is a Qigong instructor, she said to me, before you hug a tree, you need to get permission. You don't just hug a tree. You need to connect with the tree and say, may I hug you? So that's what I do now. I hug trees first by getting permission, right? So the redwood trees, when they grow, they are like towering, 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 these massive, massive, huge trunks, and they grow meters and meters up into the sky. And did you know that their root system does not go deeper than 6 feet? Isn't that amazing? 6 feet. Because what happens is they grow down and outwards, and they connect with the tree next to them. And then they make strong connections between the roots. And that one connects with the ones next to it. And that's how they make a community of support. And that's what we do. Even what Joanne is doing here, having this beautiful bringing together of strong women who come together to learn and to connect and to be a community for each other. This is what we learn from trees. Okay? So nobody knows when the time is that that spark of potential is ignited within us. You can't see it on someone's face when they have a good idea or they have a life-changing thought or they're growing in a certain way. It's something that's hidden inside of a person. So we don't see it on them on the outside. Right? So this is something that's hidden inside of us, and this is what's hidden inside the trees now. It's so important that any good idea or any good intention, if we just let it stay inside of us, you know what's going to happen? It's just going to simmer away. So we have to take action like that. Halicha is walking. We have to move with it. We can't just have this inspiration that rises in the tree. Imagine if the tree decided, no, this just feels good, all this nice sap inside. I'm not going to make blossoms this year. Just going to sit and be mellow about it, right? We wouldn't get out our fruit. We wouldn't get anything. So we have to make sure that when we get inspiration on the inside, that's connecting to the winter tree. But we have to take it to the next level, to the bringing it into fruition, excuse the pun, but to bring it into action, into the world. So Shevat is about looking within ourselves and seeing our own hidden potential and realizing it. It's about nurturing ourselves, because I always say you can't pour from an empty pot, right? As women, we're always doing this. We always, can someone make a meal? Yes, I can. Can someone fetch this? Yes. Can someone volunteer for this? Yes. But we can't do these things if we're not nurturing ourselves. We have to be able to take in the sap for ourselves before we can give out. And it's so important. And oftentimes in my clinic, I see women who come here and they're like, oh, I can't give myself permission to go to a dance class or get a massage or take a day off or do something, because it's just unheard of if we would do something like that. but it's so important because we are givers and we give out. So we need to be able to also receive first, or we'll have nothing to give out. So Rabbi Michael Garari, he speaks about the amazement of how small seed can turn into a strong, tall, fruit-bearing tree with branches, blossoms, leaves, and fruit. But it doesn't just happen, he says. There are 5 critical components that collectively bring about a successful tree. And because we said man is like a tree, we're going to look at these 5 components and we're going to see how they compare to what we can do to also bring about our fruition. So number 1, the seed has to be placed into the earth. Number 2, the seed decomposes and practically disappears. It rots. The seed rots before it can start to grow. Okay. Number 3, plenty of water. Number 4, lots of sunlight. Number 5, divine intervention. So even with the best farming practices, this does not guarantee that there are going to be successful results. Only with Hashem's blessing can a tree successfully flourish. So we see that because just like a small seed can turn into a tall tree, so too can a human being has the infinite potential to grow and to develop and to change. We have the ability to produce strong personality, and we have the ability to produce fruit and have a positive impact on ourselves and others around us. So sometimes we may feel like we are just a small seed in our lives, but there is nothing stopping us from becoming a tall, fruit-bearing tree. So these same 5 ingredients we can use for looking at human beings, what it takes for us to grow. So the first thing is putting that seed in the ground, which is looking at humility. So the earth is a symbol of humility. When you put the seed into the ground, this is an act of humility. The ambition to succeed and grow without being humble is destructive and egocentric. So only a healthy balance between the two breeds success. We must plant our seed of ambition into the earth of humility. That is the first thing about how we grow and develop. Number 2, let go. That seed has to let go of being an acorn if it wants to become a big tree. Can't be an acorn always. So we need to surrender. Real change occurs when we let go of all preconceived ideas and damaging attitudes and bad habits. We have to be prepared to let these things go. When we remain wrapped and trapped in our old habits and mindsets, we cannot move forward. So like the seed that decomposes, we too need to let go, lose our old identity, and generate freshness and newness in our life experiences. So number 3 is watering the plant. And this is about direction. So the Torah is compared to water, as we said, the water carrier.
How late to my phone? That's the point.
I think someone needs to mute there. Okay. Joanne, you can check that. Okay. So the Torah, with its nourishing divine insight, is a manual for life, providing instruction and direction. By learning and absorbing the lessons taught by the Torah, we create a beautiful value system that will drive and guide our journey forwards. That's the direction. Number 4 is sunlight. We have to be positive. The rays of sun symbolize warmth, hope, positivity, and joy. In our personal experiences, we can only take the next step if we believe that we can, approaching it with a strong and positive attitude. And the 5th thing is divine intervention. For all plants and trees to grow, Hashem has the final say, and that is faith. After we have taken all the necessary steps, all that is left to do is to pray to Hashem and to have faith that He will bless our tree. He will help us blossom and produce and bear beautiful fruit. So that is what he says. So the best time to plant a tree, of course, was 20 years ago, because then today we could be having fruit and we could be having shade and we could be having anything, all these beautiful gifts that trees can give us. But if we didn't start planting our trees 20 years ago, the next best time to start planting a tree is today. So I think that is a beautiful, beautiful lesson that we can take in and learn. Rabbi Simon Jacobson, he says, the quote for man is a tree of the field comes from Deuteronomy 20:19. And we have on the 15th day of the Shevat, we have this beautiful connection between man and the tree. So it's not just about eating the Shevat Haminim, can we get some pomegranate? Can we eat some dates? It's so much deeper. And hopefully this year on Tu B'Shvat, you'll taste that fruit, and it's the outcome of all this process and energy that the tree goes through to bring into fruition. So we have three components to the tree as well. We have the roots, we have the trunk, and then we have the body, the leaves and the fruit. And this is something we want to connect with as well. So there's a beautiful story I'll just share with you about the roots of the tree. So this story appears in the book Eretz Agadah by Amos Bar. And he says in the early days of Tel Aviv, which was the first Hebrew city, the city was very small and the streets were sand dunes, if you can imagine that, sand dunes. Today they're filled with traffic, and tall high-rise buildings. There were no trees or gardens. And one day, the small group of residents of Little Tel Aviv were told that the British colonial secretary, Sir Winston Churchill, was coming to visit. So that was when he was just the colonial secretary. And the mayor at the time was Mayor Dizengoff, and after whom Dizengoff Street is named. So the city council convened, and they wanted to welcome their distinguished guest in a proper manner, and they decided that the reception was going to be on Rothschild Boulevard. And what they wanted to do, because the whole thing was just a sand road, is they wanted to plant some trees. So there were no trees. So the council members decided they would transplant some temporary trees and give it a look of a green, blooming boulevard. So they found some tall trees outside the city and carefully uprooted them. And the day before the visit, they stuck them into the sand along the secretary's route. And now they had a boulevard with beautiful, beautiful trees. And when he came through, Sir Winston Churchill, all the residents lined the crowded streets and they leaned on the trees. And as they did that, the trees started to wobble, and one by one, they all fell down. And when this happened, Mayor Dizengoff said, at least Sir Winston Churchill said to Mayor Dizengoff, without roots, nothing will last very long. And this is so profound. So where we have to start is with our roots, right? So our roots are the most crucial, right? It's the part of the tree that nobody sees. We want to be able to check in ourselves. How strong are my roots to hold me and carry me in my life? The roots are like the underground parking. It's underground and invisible, right? But this is where without the roots and without a good root system, no tree is going to survive, as we saw in the story. So they keep the pace of the body. If the trunk and the leaves grow and spread without proportional increase in the roots, the tree will collapse under the weight, right? And on the other hand, the roots make for a healthy, stronger tree, even if there's a meager trunk and a few branches. And opposite me, there's a school, and every year in the summer vacation, they come and there's a massive, massive tree at the entrance to the school, and they cut this thing down, and it looks so terrible. It's like, they've chopped off its arms and legs, and this thing, it looks like so nebach, but the trunk is still strong. And because the roots are strong, as by the time the end of the holidays come, there's new green branches and new leaves coming out, and it replenishes itself. It comes back to what it could be because the roots were strong. So we want to try and understand for ourselves also, how strong are my roots? Where do I go? What holds me? What gives me strength from within? And connecting to Torah and the values of Torah, the morals and the beautiful mitzvot and the laws that it provides us, these are our roots. And that's what we want to connect to. Then there is faith. Faith comes up that trunk, and then it brings and provides us with beautiful, beautiful fruit. Now, also fruit, the fruit that comes from trees, right? If there's an apple tree and the apple tree wants to, deliver its apples somewhere, it needs people, either human beings or birds, to come and eat, and then deposits its seeds somewhere else so it can keep going and keep going. And I think this is also what we have to do as well. We may have beautiful ideas, but we have to share them. We have to come out of us. We have to give it over and pass it on. And this way we can bring beautiful fruit into the world with our commitment and our relationships. But the one thing that's important, and I want to come back to the water carrier, I'm going to end off soon, is that in Aquarius, that in ancient times when they carried and transported water, it was with the simple bucket. After that, it got to the aqueduct, and today just water flows from all our pipes. It's no big deal when water comes out the pipe. But in those days, it was a bucket. And the truth is that as women, we are often the bucket. We are carrying everyone in our lives around us. But we have to make sure, as I've already said, that we fill up our own buckets first before we pour out to others. So if you were driving your car and you saw, oh my goodness, the petrol light was flashing and you've got like 3 kilometers to go, you wouldn't start bargaining with your car. Oh, please give me another 20. Please, 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 I have to get somewhere. Because that just wouldn't get you anywhere. You would just get stuck on the side of the road. And so too with ourselves. We push ourselves, and without filling ourselves up. So if you're taking one thing out, it really is permission from me that when you look after yourself, you're able to give so much more to others. So I'm going to end off with this like kind of funny story, but it has a good message. So there's a story of 2 seeds that were in the ground, and they were in the dark, and it was wet, and they were just enjoying themselves being there. And then one day, one of the seeds got bored and said to the other seed, you know what? I'm ready to start growing. And his friend said to him, are you nuts? Do you know the world is crazy out there? There's rain, and there's hail, and there's wind, and there's animals and predators who eat leaves. You don't want to go out there. Let's just stay inside here. It's so safe. It's dark. No one will ever find us. But this other seed was like, I can't stay stuck underground for my whole life. I want to be a tree. I'm going to start growing. And his friend begged him and pleaded him. It's not safe. You can't go. But eventually he said, that's what I'm doing. The time has come. And all this potential was like bursting forth from him. And he started to grow, and he was started to becoming a tree. And off he went, all excited, and went off growing. And then along came a bird, pecking into the ground, found the seed underground, and ate it. And that's the story. Okay? So it's a kind of a weird story, because what is this about? But we look at the tree, the seed that wasn't scared to start to grow. Yes, there are always going to be millions of reasons. What's out there that's dangerous? What's out there that's stopping us? But this is the time, and the trees on Tu B'Shvat are teaching us. If you want to bring fruit into the world, you have to move. Because right now in winter, we can't see that fruit. There are no fruit trees now we've got orange trees, and citrus blooms in winter. But the fruit of summer, the nuts and the almonds and the peaches and everything is coming, is from the effort that goes in now. And if we stay scared under the ground, just like that seed, one day the bird will come and it wouldn't even have had the chance to grow. So this is the invitation and the offer to do that. So an acorn has treeness in it, but we doesn't know that it does unless it is prepared to be planted. So the invitation for us all is, where are we ready to be planted? What will our next move be? What will we do, like that 70-year-old woman who became the lawyer when she was 60? Like, what will we do and it doesn't have to be great things like that, but what will we do in our own life to be able to take us there? And my final story I want to end with is with this wonderful rabbi. His name was Zusha, and he had a brother, Rab Elimelech of Lezhansk. And Zusha There's so many beautiful stories about him, but the one that's really pertinent for tonight, and we're going to end with this one, is that when he was on his deathbed, all of his students were around him, sobbing, crying to see him go, their precious, precious Rebbe. And he himself was crying. And they said to him, Reb Zusha, what are you crying about? You have nothing to cry about. You have been the perfect rabbi. You have been a role model, an exemplary figure in our lives. And to Klal Yisrael, what could you possibly be crying about? You're going straight to Gan Eden, straight to Shamayim. So he said, you know what? I'm not crying because I didn't do Hachnasat Orchim like Abraham Avinu. And I'm also not crying that I didn't become the greatest leader like Moshe. And I'm not crying that I didn't become like this one or that one. And he gave all these examples. He said, I'm crying because I'm at the end of my life now. And what if I didn't become Zusha? Right? It's such a profound story of I'm not supposed to become you. You're not supposed to become your best friend. Your best friend isn't supposed to become like me. We are all supposed to become ourselves. We are supposed to develop and grow in the best way that we can. And Tu B'Shvat, in the month of Shvat, is the inspiration to help us on our path. Okay. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, and beautiful. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I know there were some people that wanted to say hello to you before. But if anybody does want to open up and say hi, and then we will make our bracha on our precious Chala. I saw Roxy said hello before. Oh, there she is. She's come on screen for you. You see
I
there.
just wanted to say hi, Devorah. We are such good friends, and I just love hearing you. And I want to invite you to come to London. You have to come soon if you want to stay at my house, because I'm making Aliyah soon, but next February or March, and see the spring in this country, because the trees in London are unbelievable. And right now the weather is awful and everybody's miserable. But like in a month from now, everything's going to change. Everything's just it's like there's a tree up the road from me that I call the bride, because when she blooms, she looks like an upside down bridal gown. She is magnificent. So please come to London and see our beautiful trees.
Yeah, thank you. I would love to.
Okay, let's see what we can do, Roxy. Okay, amazing. Okay, so I'm going to just thank you again. It was beautiful. Shame on Elaine messaged me, Elaine Dove, and she couldn't get on, but please send me the recording.
Oh, that's so nice.
but
Oh, thank
Ezra
you for all these
Hashem.
beautiful messages. I'm just reading. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank
there's
you.
Lauren Michelle. Okay.
Hi, Lauren. Okay. Yes, been years. Been years. Wonderful. Thank
Again, I
you.
want to thank our beautiful Rebbetzin Shirley Perez. And I have here my bowl of my sourdough. So we will be mafresh challah. Last night, I went to be mafresh challah at an organization called GIFT that had brought out 9 mothers and 10 bat mitzvah daughters. The one mother has twins, and they've all lost a father during this last war. And they just gave them a beautiful, beautiful week. And so my first Hafrashas Challah was last night with these beautiful women. And you really feel it. We know that the Gula is going to come through the Nashim Satkaniot, and just, that we're Thursday night, and yet people just sit and they want to learn and take in. And that's part of what we're all doing here. So wherever we are in the world, some people I saw actually in Cape Town right now, and I can't say I'd like to be there too. And it's just really such a bracha that we have, this vehicle of having. And I'm going to say, even my mother is online there in Shoresh, and it's a real pleasure. So let's go. And in Hashem, we just continue and strengthen and strengthen. And I have my some of my pot plants that I watch grow. And when the lilies come up, and when the tiny things, and you see these tiny things, and I've got my beautiful orchid here that regrows, and it's got so many buds and already open. And it's just those miracles that you see. How does this happen? Because we don't see it happening. And I think if we all look at ourselves as real miracles of how does this happen, because we don't watch it happening. But Am Yisrael, the Jewish people, are just the biggest miracle. And we are so blessed to be able to share everything together and to be together and to know that wherever we are in the world, we're all going to make Shabbat and we're all going to have Shabbos and we're all going to be Mafresh Challah and we're going to have Kiddush and our Shabbat candles. And wherever we are, we're doing this really all together. So, yeah, let's go. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu, b'mitzvosav v'tzivanu, להפריש חלה מן העיסה. הרי זו חלה. In the zechus, in the merit of this mitzvah of Afrashas Challah, that all of us women will very soon, in Hashem next Shabbos, be taking our real challahs to the Beis HaMikdash to give to the Kohanim. And that will be the thing that we've all been practicing and waiting for. But I found that sourdough is the real miracle of the breads, because you're just taking flour, water, and salt, putting it together, and you're making it, and it just happens. And it needs time, and it needs patience. And I pushed it last week in Gibraltar because I only put my dough on in the morning. And it was great. But you know what? With that little bit more, it becomes even better. So Be'ezrat Hashem, that's what we're all looking for, to find that little bit more in all of us, just to be able to use and to feel that potential and to push it in the right direction. So Devorah, thank you so much for that. We will be using lots of this in Shevat. I'm going to have
I've got, if you want, I can put some of my details. Anyone wants to email me or look at my website, or I have also a YouTube channel with other talks and lectures, so I can put that in the chat if anyone wants.
Probably what's a good idea, if you just send it to me now as if you send me WhatsApp, email, whatever information you have, and then I'll put that onto the group that I sent all the information out to now, and then nobody has to worry about losing it quickly on the group screen.
Okay, I sent it to you in WhatsApp.
No, you sent it to me in WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Did you want me to send it in here?
Well, if you can, if anybody wants to write it down, then yes. So you can put it in both, and then I can send it up.
Okay, I'll send it here also. Okay, that's my information, and such a pleasure to see all of you who had your cameras on, and just so wonderful to share words of inspiration, and just wishing you a beautiful month. And one day I do actually hope to come up. I was in London once when I was 18, and that's it. So that's
a few years ago.
I do have that Chelsea flower show. I would love to one day come and see.
Okay, we'll work on it.
Okay, all right. Wishing you all
Shabbat
Shabbat
Shabbos, everybody.
Bye.
For those of you who want to join us tomorrow morning, don't forget 9 o'clock, 9 a.m. sharp on this Zoom link, our Mizmola Todah. And every day we're there and we keep going. So we'll keep going. And lovely to see you. You're looking very chilled in Cape Town, my love.
Very chilled and such a gorgeous year. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, good night. All the best.
Good night, everybody.
Shabbat shalom. Good night.
Shabbat shalom.
Thanks so much, Joanne. It was
Thank you. Looking forward to meeting properly in person soon.
Yes, you'll let me know when you're coming.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm always there. I actually am a lot. But we get to Shoresh. You can come with Shelley to Shoresh to meet my mom. We'll do a reflexology. We can do a meditation. We can go and hug a tree. We're up for it all.
Yeah,
but my friend Dahlia Resnick, she was very excited that you spoke about hugging the tree, because her late mom used to do a bit of tree hugging.
Oh, and, wonderful. And
so
Nicole,
do you know Nicole Martin?
No.
Okay, she used to take me for walks in the on the heath, but we had to go do a tree hug as well, and she did ask for permission from her tree.
Beautiful. Okay, take care. Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
Pleasure. Thank you.